We all have this mental vault of unrealized potential, ideas that remain trapped in what I like to call the idea prison. And I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out, I'm gonna explain, okay? The idea prison is the mental construct of where our potential remains trapped, where inspiration goes to serve a life sentence of inaction. The prison has several cells, with each its own unique way of keeping our ideas confined. And the first one's gonna be the perfectionism cell, where ideas are usually held hostage until they're perfect, which of course never happens. The second one's gonna be the fear block, where ideas are imprisoned by our own anxieties about failure, judgments, or even success. And the third one is gonna be the overwhelm chamber, where potentially great ideas get lost in the complexity of execution. And the last one's gonna be the someday suite, and this is probably the most comfortable one, the most comfortable cell, where ideas that live in the future, and it will be living in the future as in like saying, I'll do it when I have more time, I'll do it when I have more money, I'll do it when I have more energy, you know? And what makes this prison very effective is that basically we've built it ourselves. You know, we're literally the prisoner and the warden at the same exact time. And to break out of this prison, we need to first understand the guards that keep our potential locked up. So first, we want to know if our idea is going to work before we even try it out. But certainty usually only comes after action and not before. Often, we avoid acting on ideas because failure would threaten how we see ourselves. If I never tried to write that book, I could still identify as someone who could write a great book someday. We also could get a hit of dopamine just from having the idea and imagining its success. This could be very satisfying that we never feel the need to ever pursue the much harder work of the implementation itself. Starting is very difficult because we're usually wired to just conserve energy all the time. And trying out new things usually required a significant amount of energy to even start them or just to overcome it, just starting it. And this usually helps us recognize that these barriers are normal, you know? This is a human experience that all of us experienced at one point, you know, and it's not a personal failing. And before we even talk about that mindset shift, let's consider what this imprisonment cost us. The most obvious cost is the unrealized value of the ideas themselves, but there's deeper cost. Every time we have an idea and we don't act on it, we subtly reinforce the belief that we're not the kind of person who follows through. We miss out on learning that comes only through implementation. Ideas that stay in our heads never benefit from real world feedback. As time passes, unrealized ideas transform from exciting possibilities into sources of regret. What if I had started that business 5 years ago that I had that idea about? Perhaps most significantly, trapped ideas create a feedback loop. The more ideas we leave imprisoned, the harder it becomes to free the next one, as it just starts becoming a habit over time. And now is going to be the mindset shift that I'll be speaking about. So how do we break out of this prison? This idea prison. It starts with a fundamental shift in how we think about ideas in action. Instead of seeing your idea as something that must be fully formed before it can exist in the world, view it as a prototype, something designed to be imperfect so it can be improved upon. That instead of seeing your idea as something that must be fully formed before it can exist in the world, view it as a prototype, something designed to be imperfect so it can be improved. Shift focus from the results of your idea to the process of bringing it to life. Break free from the belief that the implementation must be comprehensive. Small steps count. And you have to recognize that from future to present, you have to recognize that someday is not a day of the week. If an idea matters, it deserves a space in your present, not just your future. And these mindset shifts aren't just philosophical, they're just practical. You know, they create psychological conditions that are necessary for action so you can act upon that idea. And actions on ideas with these mindset shifts as our foundation, let's explore. I'm going to speak about some more strategies for breaking ideas and trying to act upon them. So try to commit to working on your idea for just 5 minutes. You know, this kind of bypasses that initial barrier of just trying to start it in the first place. Or maybe you could define the simplest possible version of the idea that could exist, you know? Like, what's the first thing you could start on that idea that you could just start that won't even take that much of energy, you know? Or maybe you could also tell someone about your intention to start on that idea, you know, social accountability, you know, it creates this kind of positive pressure that I've noticed, you know. I've told my friends about some ideas that I started, and it kind of creates positive pressure to kind of be like, I said this to my friend, you know, I'm going to prove it to myself, you know. And don't wait for inspiration or free time, you know, schedule blocks for working on that idea, whether if it's 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or maybe even an hour, you know, just you and yourself and your thoughts, you know, and document those small wins and progress, you know, even if you have the ups and downs, you know, this can create momentum and it provides evidence just for you so you could act on those ideas, you know. The key is to just usually choose approaches that address your particular prison guards, you know. And breaking out of that idea prison isn't just about productivity or achievement. It's about living a more authentic life, you know, where your inner creativity and insights can manifest in the outer world. Every time you free an idea from its prison, you're not just creating something new in the world. You're literally recreating yourself. You're reinforcing your identity as someone who acts, who creates, who brings potential into reality. The world needs a lot of those imprisoned ideas to break free, you know? It needs that unique perspective. It needs creative solutions. It needs a distinctive voice. But more than that, we all have to experience that freedom and fulfillment that comes from breaking the idea prison, you know? And that is it about the idea prison, you know? And as of this recording, I would just like to say we have finally hit 90 subscribers. You know, that is a humongous goal. I just want to say thank you to everybody watching, man. Like, it honestly means a lot. Like, honestly, I'm thinking about starting a Discord server up soon just to see. But you know what? I'll see if I make it. I mean, I'm not even going to say that. I'm literally contradicting myself, but my bad. I'll make it, you know. And if anybody wants to know more of that Discord server, you could just let me know, you know. And, but like, seriously, though, I really want to thank all of you guys, you know. I just really want to try to provide value for you guys in terms of what I could just come up with my ideas, you know, my own thoughts of creativity. And I think a lot of people around the world could provide that creativity in so many different unique ways and forms that like a lot of us can never think of, you know, like this idea on this video that I had now. Like, I've been prepping for this, you know, I thought it was super unique, super cool. And I was like, you know what, why not? Let's try it. So I just like to say thank you. And this will be John Sooney dipping out. I will see you guys in the next video. And if you like the video, like and subscribe for more. You know, I'll keep on posting. But until then, John Sooney out. Peace.